division, intermediate division even, there's a big difference there, and between intermediate and pro, which is like where Paradox realistically are sitting. Paradox are like that team which just kind of just beats weaker teams because individually they can just fire up and pretty much bully lesser teams out of the server. So we'll see what's going on in this knife round over here. I don't think it's a too consequential knife round.
The shenanigans for Trident.
I would say though, it'd be pretty interesting to see how Paradox approach this and how, because like Trident, I feel like the first couple of steps is that they have to kind of earn the respect of Paradox, because otherwise if you just outright lose a couple of aim deals, you don't take some map territory correctly, then that's pretty much it. You're completely locked out of the game.
There's a bit of a discussion in the in-game chat right now, Kevin. You're seeing the fruits of that, where Paradox and Trident are deciding whether or not they wanted to essentially throw the knife round for the pick, which makes sense, you know?
Yeah, because I was going to say, normally with the best of three, it's like the first two maps you have, if say for example, which Trident did pick Vertigo, Paradox would pick the side, and vice versa. And we'll see Paradox, I think, return the favor as well when we do go onto their map selection overpass. We'll see that they'll allow Trident to actually make that CT side selection or whatever side they do decide to start on an overpass as well.
I think there is an AFK on the Trident side, so that's getting sorted out as well. So it'll take a little while before we get into this one, but I guess once we get there, hopefully things do sort of kick on pretty quickly. There we go. So it'll be CT start for Paradox, T-side start for Trident. Here's Trident's map pick, and instantly we have a pause.
Oh.
With Wex saying he's got high ping, so Chaos is disconnected. Off to a good start.
Wex is high ping, so Chaos is disconnected? That's an interesting
I
statement.
don't know. Wex says he's got high ping, Chaos disconnected, and everyone's sorting everything out, I suppose.
Yeah. Hopefully no one has to connect to 4G net, because that's never... Yeah, that's never good if you're connecting to 4G, playing in a... I wouldn't say like a hugely consequential match. I think it's only for seeding as well as like a bit of extra money. They've done the hard yards already. Let's be real. Trident, I think, getting pretty lucky in terms of the lower bracket, realistically, but I'm not going to begrudge them of this opportunity. I'm not going to say that they didn't deserve it. They still had to take down an opponent. They still turn up to play. And it's just it's like one of those opportunities, you know what? They're the ones that grab hold of it. Other teams can look at it and go, oh, look, these guys have an opportunity and we don't. They can make a bit of noise, but at the end of the day, they didn't sign up to play. Trident did.
Yeah, I think actually, I mean, on the topic of the seeding, how impactful it is, like, I agree, like, it's not the biggest of deals, but when you consider that some of the other Seed 1 teams are the likes of Huatsai and Sigma, who I do think would actually be quite difficult to play.
Yeah.
I think getting that that first seed is probably a nice little berth through the, at least the early couple of rounds of that bracket. You've got to remember, it's quite a large bracket when we get to the global final. There's like 2 or 3 teams coming from each region. So.
Round of 32 and it's single elim, so you don't want to be versing like a really strong team off the bat and pretty much just getting absolutely domed and eliminated. You kind of want to make your way through like a decent bracket. You want to take down some of the weaker teams and kind of move forward from there. So actually Paradox calling the timeout or calling it off. So,
all right, looks like we're good to go.
Excellent. Bit of a delayed start, but into the pistol we should proceed with soon. Only a single smoke and 2 flashbangs for the T's to work with. Paradox haven't bought yet.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that. I'm thinking they haven't invested anything.
There they are. Now they have. Badonka's already gone with yours and HE. Herbs is still... I don't know what Herbs is doing, but he's AFK. Maybe he's getting some food, but he's actually got the kit and flashes.
Yeah, someone had to do it. I guess last man out of spawn has to be the one that's... indentured with the services towards the util buy as opposed to the armor buy. Donka's dually buy didn't quite work out too nicely for him. Corbin knocks him over pretty quickly over there on the B bomb site. Now it's up to Versa and Herbs, one of which does not have armor, but Versa's doing a great job. Pistol in hand, taking some heads off. Herbs helping out, chiming in with a little bit of damage. they've denied the bomb plan at least for now, which is quite good to see. It gives the time for the rotations to come across. Looks like Trident wants to cancel, but you can't, man. Herbs is just too sharp. Bombs dropped in no man's land, and now Trident have to fight for positioning here on B.
Yeah, Danger's just overwatching that as well. Danger's been fantastic in these pistol rounds, and it looks like it should be a pretty clean comeback at the end, which it's going to be Danger that actually pops 3 heads with a USP. Makes it look relatively easy, even though it's a 3-on-3 at the end. Paradox don't lose a single member beyond that. So, nice stuff from Trident, but that's what I mean. It's once you get to kind of like the mid-round or whatnot, who's going to be stepping up? And we can't expect Forvent to be doing it forever. Can't be expecting Circus to get away with different things. You're versing a much more different opponent right now, so... What is going on with Herbs? So late to play.
He's just waking up. Give him some time. Maybe he's finishing off dinner.
That's a pretty hefty HE grenade.
There's a lot of noise being made here by Trident as they charge their way through jump up, or try to. They're not even allowed out of jump up. As soon as they fall off, they die. And Paradox say thanks very much for the free money and the free round as well. Donker's having a good time.
Yeah, I think Donker enjoying farming as well. Wanting to maybe get a bit of extra cash. If you wake up on Sunday and play a bit of Counter-Strike, might as well make it worth it. What's better than 400 US, Jordan?
800?
Absolutely. That's first place. 800 US, you can do a lot with it. But first gun round coming out from Trident. Already looking like they're going to be testing the B side of things. Similarly, deep utility over here towards the A ramp.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit more of a default setup really from Trident here. They're probing towards B, having a little bit of a look there, but they're also keeping an eye on A. Forvent does get a nice opener, but Donker hasn't found his mojo yet in this match.
Yeah, nice little reaction coming out from Forvent, as I think Donker was trying to get a bit cheeky and crawling close. So not much util actually left in the hands of Paradox, and Trident looking to make that reroute back towards A ramp. Actually work out though. Danger. I mean, puts himself in untradeable scenarios. Danger just retakes A ramp with his M4.
Can't complain about that. Paradox doing pretty well on the defense so far. Starting to run low on util, and this will be where Trident starts to try to exploit the B bomb site. Smoke goes over the top, lands by the generator, knocking off Herbs, who decides to actually push it in front of it to give Versa that backup that he needs. Quick peek coming through here on the back of the flashes from the CT side. Let's try and start to work their way forward. Herbs was spotted, but well covered by Versa. Really a bait and switch kind of a setup right now. And man, Versa is on in this matchup already. You can tell every shot just seems to be connecting. 7 and 1, having a great time on that B site.
Yeah, even just the delay utility as well. Just the ability. Then that's what I mean. Like, Trident needs to have the individuals. If they come out and make these like hardcore individual, like they're trying to make the individual plays. So in that case, Wex is all the way at sandbags and there's no trade potential. You have to be able to hit your shots. Otherwise, there's no reason to justify why you're at no man's land. So it's going to be back towards an A push this time around. Finally a test towards the A ramp side of things. You can see this is the difference in the utility usage.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only that, but it's also just the firepower. Danger makes it look easy right now. Luke there, as well as Herbs to help him out, give him an assisting hand, but overall, way too easy for Paradox.
It's the protocols, right? It's like Paradox have been in that scenario, I don't know how many times, and you can see just the difference in smokes that are used whenever there is a hard, like, we see those smokes every single time. I feel like when it gets to, when you're talking about your Renegades playing Vertigo order back in the day, like, you see those, like, smokes. It comes down to who throws maybe a bit of a better flashbang, who comes down to timing, maybe a bit of magic. But you see Trident, there's actually no chance to make any magic. There's just no flashes to cover it off. Nevertheless, into the gun round, they're going to test it out this time with AKs. I don't know if this is going to work necessarily, though.
Well, it doesn't look to have so far. Luke getting the kill with the molly. Flash already a good start. Never mind. I'm soon trying and able to trade back. What can Luke do though? Hiding behind that smoke. Trident had no idea where he was, and he's been able to trade relatively effectively for himself until Koiti arrives. Versa in the 1-on-2, but honestly, I can't back him here. Chaos and Koiti very low on HP. Versa's been sharp so far today. But he has gambled on the wrong bomb site, trying to head it back to B.
I think it's fine at this stage. For Versa, he just wants to make sure that, okay, like, he wants to listen for a bit of a telltale. You're trying to put yourself at the back against the wall. You've still got a full util set. No need to be pressured. You can sit over here at CT boxes and be relatively happy on A site. Once the bomb plant goes down, he still has a kit to work with. You should be able to hear these smokes even from all the way on the other side, and that's going to be a big indication that it is going to be B.
Yeah, he's on the fast rotate.
Question.
It's going to be stuck behind the molly, unless he goes for the jump.
Like I said,
of course, make noise.
Plenty of time to work with. And the problem with how Trident are playing like a double man setup over here is the fact that once Versa just clears everything and he drops a smoke grenade, he's definitely going to dump the HE grenade over here at stairs. So you can see he's cleared most of it out. There's going to be the smoke onto the bomb. HE grenade should follow into stairs, I would say, about all things. He's just going directly for the commit. But that looks like it's planned from Trident. Coity lines up, HE grenade comes forward, and that's it. Well played from Trident.
Yeah, nicely done in the 2-on-1. Versa didn't really seem like he had much of a chance in the end, which was obviously a bit of egg on my face. But either way, it's not going to hassle Paradox that much. They can get a full buy through here again. Does deplete the coffers a little bit. Badonka goes down to 300. But overall, they won't be feeling too concerned just yet.
Absolutely not. I'd say the part they have to be concerned about is if Trident go onto a monstrous streak of runs and Paradox can't find a solution. But reality is that's a well-played round from Trident. They managed to take A. They win a couple of duels against FAMASas and MP9s and probably Paradox getting a bit greedy. Now out comes the Rifles and the AWP for Luke. That's a bit of a different scenario.
So far hasn't had the impact in the round, but set up by Sandbags, watching the lane in Scaffold. Probably not going to get a whole lot here. Only a couple of players down at the bottom of a bay ramp, more likely than not. I was going to say it could be a B play, but it seems that Trident are starting to float back in that direction. We've often seen when they just set a couple of players up at the bottom of a ramp that they're not actually committing to it. They're using that to just hold it, but could be a little bit of a change up this time from Trident, who are now starting to creep their way up the ramp. They're throwing some smokes in, so info's there for Paradox. But Luke's already fallen off that Sandbags line and has started to rotate his way back over towards scaffolding instead.
Looking to make a bit of a play right now. Might actually make this work out. As the utility is being lined up, he can hear all this. And that's such a hard angle to push off as well. Danger. Actually, he's the one that's aggressing. Should be rewarded. No, only rewarded with one. Luke, though, how are you going to dig him out of this entrenched position? You have to hit a fantastic shot. It's not going to happen. Boite's making a lot of noise, so they know exactly where the last rifle is going to be. You're going to be very happy sitting your forces still over here. You've already got the flank locked down from Badonka as well. And there you have it. Paradox. Very clean round outside of A, but Danger going down, but that's about it. It's still a shutdown from there, and Trident. It has to be a half buy. I wouldn't fully buy into this. As Coity decides to prove me wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you might have just
because
been a little bit incorrect in that one.
Because the problem is, you have to look at it this perspective. Why are you force buying? Okay, you're looking to break the CT funding, maybe to pick up the pace, and the money is all over the moment. Like, the money is a bit scuffed, right? You have 4K on some players, 3K on some others. I'll touch on that point afterwards. It looks like it is going to be a B push for Badonka first contact.
Yeah, Badonka's been struggling so far in this finals. He can make something happen here. Does get that opener. Knocked out by a nice flash from Versa. Two B defenders doing well for themselves before Badonka eventually gets run over. Corbin actually gets a fair bit of work done with that Tech 9, but it's not enough to allow the bomb plant down yet for Trident. So, smoke clears and fades. Paradox is still not going to be in a bad spot.
Luke's got an incendiary grenade to use as well. And not to mention Coity's down to 1 HP. I would like
He's also got a nasty line, man. You should see it.
It's from CT, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just wondering, like, which one it is. Well, there's a flashbang to resend in, but it's pulled a little bit too early.
It does give Paradox the opportunity to just take a peek into the bomb site and see that, well, there's not a whole lot going on, but could be some false info because Trident is standing right there. Their little butts are hanging out of the smoke, though, and Danger says, hello, thank you very much for the freebie. Well, he did have herbs dropping out in that meanwhile as well. Not that it would have affected the round because he was already dead. So Paradox grabbed their 6th, and I dare say we would have a pause coming through fairly shortly.
How many pauses are they allowed? That's my next question.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's a bit interesting. Maybe they were banking on the fact that it was going to return before time, but there he is. He actually spawns.
Just does.
Just in the nick of time, and there we have it. He was just practicing, guys. It was just a prank all along.
I was going to say, I don't think Paradox actually used any of their pauses in that initial slowdown at the start. That was all Trident. This time a bit more presence over towards B. 3 players at the bottom of the stairs right now for Trident. Just thrown in that one piece of utility, the Molotov, and an incendiary flies back in response from Paradox, preventing any push up the stairs.
Don't know if that Molotov was meant to go there, but nevertheless, they're looking to kind of crunch B at this stage. That flashbang definitely not the finest I've seen from Luke. Normally he's pretty on point with the flashbangs this time around. Hits Danger as Danger clears out all of A ramp. Pretty big tell, that's going to allow Luke to float back. They can drop a lot of defensive utility to B as Herbs sucks at dropping incendiary grenades. I don't know if that was for mid, but that looked like it should have gone towards B.
You're looking at something different to me. Badonka, though, nicely done by him. 3k with that M4. That's what we're talking about. The individuals can definitely step up on Paradox. And, well, you get rid of one on the bomb site, but there's still another. And also a rotation coming across from Danger. Paradox, and in the end, kind of make it end up looking pretty easy. I mean, 7-1. A lot of these rounds have been going down to a couple of remaining players on the CT side, but overall, they're still comfortable wins, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. It's like even that fight, for example, that Versa takes, like immediately afterwards he turns because he knows there's a flashbang coming in as well from his teammate. It's just the little things at this stage, which is you can go, it's like, oh, I tried it and are really close to maybe breaking this or whatnot, but the reality is that they're still far and away. Looks like Deagles are out looking to try to make a bit of a play, but Herbs has already decided to probe and push. Might be caught off timing. Actually, it's the other way around.
Good spray coming through. He'll grab himself another. The advantages continue to compound for the CT side as Paradox are slowly but surely working their way through this map of Vertigo. You know, it's not feeling like a super one-sided game, although it quite clearly is. But it's not in the same vein as the Dynasty matchup on Vertigo that we saw.
This is just because that one was just more like that was a clown fiesta because people were just running at each other.
Yeah,
this one is more like you're seeing exactly why Paradox is going ahead. It's not a case that Herbs has just been pushing mid every single round. That is the first time that any CT has pushed towards mid. You can see how well Paradox is slicing up the angles. You can see how they're taking this territory. They're not pushing into A ramp dry. They're not looking to contest it unless there's like something there. They always try to flash each other in. We always talk about the fundamentals. That's exactly how they're kind of getting a bit carried away with this 8-1. And the problem is that Trident is really not testing them just yet.
Yeah, I think this is fairly typical, though, of what we do get to see from Paradox on a fairly regular basis, where they'll just slowly find their advantages. It's not usually a lot of flashy stuff. Maybe you're going to get that from, like, Luke or Versa if they really kind of get rolling. But by and large, it's just the slow, steady kind of gameplay that they use to compound their advantages. And there's another one for Badonka.
Starts from Circus, though, punishing a very common AWP angle. The spray back, decent to put him down to 31. At least Danger's able to return a bit of the favor. But the issue here for right now for Trident is the fact they've lost kind of B stairs control. Badonka gets that kill nice and early on. You have to reuse utility to retake it. Let's be real, you can't just challenge it just out of the blue.
Herbs going to be flashed in onto the line, and it'll work out pretty nicely for him. First, also keeping a bit of a lock on that B bomb side, although there's not a whole lot going on over there. Need to see what's happening near A, even in mid. We do have a little bit of alert coming through now from Chaos, and well, maybe I spoke too soon. A rotation back across the B from the T side as well does mean that Badonka's got a bit of work to do. Versa's got a bit of work to do, and so too now does Koiti, who is on his own.
AWP and no head armor though. CTs, they hear the shots, they know exactly where he is. He's still waiting for the flank, but he looks away just at the wrong time. He had the right idea as well. But there's no way to get a double kill over here, unfortunately. Both CTs posted on the same angle. Boosted up on the slats. Means that there's no chance whatsoever. Another Trident timeout. But I don't even know what to even talk about at this stage. This is like one of those clinical games where I'm like, you can't even say that they have the correct fundamentals or whatnot. They haven't even made their way onto the A site yet, which is one of those problems in Vertigo. If you can't make your way to the A site, it's a huge issue.
Few issues starting to crop up for Trident, rather. One of the big ones is that Paradox is just a pretty good team. Constantly being able to find these opening frags, and more importantly than that, when they have advantages, they're able to convert them. You know, a lot of the time in the matches that we've watched today, we've been seeing teams get leads, 2 picks early, 1 pick early, getting good positioning, getting bombed down or whatever, but they're not being able to convert them against the better teams. And I think that's kind of part of the reason why we're talking about Paradox as one of the quote-unquote better teams. Because they are one of the ones that can kind of convert those rounds and make it look relatively easy in doing so. Do have that little timeout coming through for Trident, so hopefully they'll have a bit of a chat here and work something out. The buy looks pretty interesting. You know, I actually don't mind seeing like a bit of a half mix between like AKs and Tech 9s, and Tech 10 I'm not so sold on. I'm not as big of a fan, but I like the Tech 9 AK kind of half buy. I always feel like it has success.
Okay, so the problem with that though is like I feel like it depends on the rationale and why you have like a Tech 9 half buy, because it's the case of the only time I feel like it's justified where you have a Tech 9 and maybe a few AKs is if you go for the hero play when you're trying to reset the CT economy. This is building on my point earlier. Or you have like one person who was saving for whatever reason or just got killed after time. It's unfortunate, but you have at least a decent outload, like a kid out and 4 people. The problem with when you go with this is, and I made this point when Trident played the previous series on Nuke, is because these rounds, they may think it's close. In reality, it hasn't been close. And you do need the bit of extra utility to combat for the late round. You can't make contact play work every single time against Paradox. And that's where the flashbangs are for, that's where the Molotovs are for. Area denial, being able to slice and dice and control territory to make sure you can make your way on safely. Then you can actually put yourself in a post plan and actually take a convincing victory, as we saw from Trident earlier. This is the problem, all this utility fast for what? Get shut down by Bedonka.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Bedonka, been on a bit of a farm lately. He's in good form and not aware of that fourth really player coming around the side, but Versa bails him out of trouble, or at least makes it worthwhile with a 1-for-1 trade. Great work from Bedonka, and I mean, a big pause for not a whole lot of success for Trident. It's just going to be another nail that's going to be hammered into that coffin. See what Chaos can do to salvage in this round. Nothing.
Not much, yeah. There's too many members for him to find. But that's what I mean. It's like you look at that and you go, oh, they've got AKs, they've got Tech 9s, so they can... But it's not about the fights at the moment. These fights have been unfair. Paradox have been dictating exactly where they're taking the firefights about 80% of the time, and they're coming out on top. Because they have, like, you see all those flashbangs that Trident use. It's like, none of them were really effective. At no stage was Bedonka actually blinded by any of those flashbangs. Imagine if there was a Molotov. You had an extra molly. This could have been a gun round at this stage. You could have had Tech 9s and achieved the same thing as the last round with utility and still had enough to buy AKs this round.
Yeah.
At least they're doing the sensible
Tech 9s and Deagles.
At least they're doing the sensible thing and going for the eco here, as opposed to like force buying to death.
See what they can get done. Bit of mid presence for, I think the first time, maybe the second time, we've seen a little bit going on here, but definitely not a full committed push from the entire team. Luke, with the AWP, is like shooting fish in a barrel. Get some help from Versa, but overall,
Bomb's still in spawn. I don't know what the I don't know what the objective of that was. There's no clear vision in my mind. Like I'm watching Trident and I'm going, there's no vision on what they want to achieve in these rounds. It's like they're hoping that they get a lucky timing or a lucky blow. It just doesn't work against a team like this. You need to figure out, okay, if you're having pistols, what is going to potentially work? Okay, if you get pistols and overwhelm jump up, what utility do you need? Maybe you need a couple of flashbangs and a couple of smokes. What are we going to do in this round? We've got the full belt now. How are we going to take complete map control? I'm not saying it's out of the realms of possibility. Trident have been able to take this B main control and A ramp once. But how are they going to do it successfully again this time? It is going to be this A ramp fight.
Yeah, back towards A. Big hefty defensive setup from Paradox. Players all over the place, and Danger and Luke combined for a couple of kills. Luke's posted, waiting for someone to make the mistake of walking into that smoke. It looks like Forvin might be about to oblige him. Yeah, the smoke fades, no movement from the T's. At least not yet. And it doesn't really prompt anything from the CTs. They know that they have the advantage right now. They don't need to be going for anything too over-eager. They don't need to get any info. Numbers advantage is enough. Resmoke comes across as well from Luke, so it's really going to slow things down. Well, never mind, maybe. Luke starts to push his way forward. Is there a hole in the smoke? Does look like there was, but Forvin wasn't able to get the shot through that he needed. He needed a headshot. He got a body shot. And Luke punishes him.
He's going back for more. This is what I mean. This is like the classic case of you think it's safe? No. It's never safe when Luke's around.
No.
Chaos might be falling to the same prey. Trying to find the angle.
Oh, Luke's not going to miss those, no. Especially not in the form right now that he is. 13-3 for him. Pretty big numbers being put up by all of Paradox, except for Herbs, who really hasn't had that much work to do. 18-5 for Danger. 13-3 for Luke and Versa, and 14-6 for Badonka, so they'll be happy with that.
But you look at how many things go wrong there for Trident. It's just the lack of the potential to trade. They just get frozen stagnant. You can see now it's like, okay, HE grenades, maybe force someone to stop there. They just get completely flashed and molly out of position. Oh, that's a bit of a miss from Luke. I won't give him a second opportunity.
No, the resmoke did come. He decided not to actually exit sandbags. Never mind, I spoke too soon. He does. Versa drops.
Yeah, Versa a bit keen, but Chaos, he's been lurking there for 2 rounds in a row. Normally I say it's not a good idea because, well, it doesn't really give your team a huge advantage. I'll be real. It only works when you have some hyper-aggression from a team that's going 12-1 at this stage. So, still got Badonka over there lurking to the B site. He still has a Molotov to use in an HE. The question is, where is Paradox going to make their re-push, right? Where are they going to get this information and decide to kind of push it again? Donka drops that Molotov a little bit late, but he still comes out on top of these fights. Cirquest decides to go for a jump.
At the moment.
Yeah.
What looked like a pretty good situation for Trident, where they were rotating over to just a sole defender, is falling apart. Orbit is able to grab himself one, but Luke's here and more than likely not allow that bomb plant to go down. Pistol comes out. Communication through from Badonka that he did a fair bit of damage before he went down, and in the end, Danger will grab that kill. So Paradox go up to 13. Very close to getting the 14-1 half and pounding Trident into oblivion.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'd like to say that some of these rounds could have been closer. It's hard for me to make an argument. This is just... I mean, I think one good thing is at least Paradox hasn't devolved it into they're just pushing every single round, right? It's still the case that they're treating Trident pretty seriously, and this is the difference of when Paradox is treating you pretty seriously, and you just allowed absolutely no leeway. You have to earn all your opportunities. You have to earn your right to even fight for a plant. This is the difference, isn't it?
It's a big difference. Speaking of, the buy is a little bit different here for Trident, but I'm not sure it's going to change the result up at all. They've gone for predominantly SMGs. Get a Glil there as well, but realistically speaking, Badonka looking too sharp at the moment, so is the rest of Paradox, and Trident can't really get into anything. Wex goes for a little bit of a jump spot above the smoke as well, and nearly gets punished for it too, but where do you go as Trident? Flash has gone into the bomb site, but even if Luke can't see, he can still kill you. And Badonka's there as well. Trident cannot even set foot halfway up these stairs, otherwise they're basically done. And they are a couple of good trades there from Chaos, but end of the day, there's always going to be another Paradox member, and 14-1.5, very damn good.
Wex is getting absolutely wrecked by internet at the moment, by the way.
Yeah.
He's playing with 200. That's it's pretty harsh. I don't know if it's a case of that would have... I mean, I don't think 100 ping would have helped. I mean, it would help, but the problem is I still feel like the result's going to be the same, where it's absolute domination from Paradox, unfortunately, and Trident learning a pretty harsh lesson. But this is the one where you just have to kind of go forward as Trident and kind of just build and grow from here.
I mean, it really makes you think about the caliber of players that we have in our region, and you know, you see Paradox go and play against a team like Order, and they probably lose that 2-0, and then they come into this match and then they look like unkillable gods, and it's just interesting to sort of see the tiers and the steps that are in the region. I always enjoy that aspect of it. It's 3v2 at the moment, and I guess it's pretty indicative of the learning curve that Counter-Strike has, as Badonka shuts out a couple of nice frags for himself. 4K on the pistol. He's pretty happy with that. I think that was Wex's first kill for the map as well, though, so he's pretty happy too.
Yeah, I think a couple of clicks in the chat. I'm not really in the server as you are, Jordan, but I've got a feeling that's probably Wex having a massive celebration.
It is. Yeah.
And all the other guys probably going grats. It's just like RuneScape all over again. You get level 3 wood cutting, little fireworks come up, and you have people that goes just type into GZ and you feel really special. That's Wex at the moment. Because let's be real, you're going to celebrate something, because I don't think there's much more to celebrate outside of this. Out comes the A-side attack. At least it starts off nice for Queety.
Indeed, slow and steady here from Paradox, but starting to clear out the angles. Luke cops a lot of damage, but I'll tell you who's copping a bit more. It's the Trident players right now, because they have just been steamrolled over on A, and as you can see, Bomb Plant is going down. We're on 2 now, and it should well be a quick end to the map. I think it's a 16-1 here for them.
Yep.
Not a chance, and Paradox will secure it without too much hullabaloo. They just get it done.
Yeah, pretty clean and simple. As you said, not much fanfare in terms of how they were playing, just the individuals just hitting a couple of shots, turning up inside the server. And I have to say once again, though, I'm glad it didn't devolve into kind of like Paradox kind of just, dare I say it, just swinging around, just charging at them. They kept it pretty serious. And I think that's, there is more for Trident to learn from that experience than it was for Paradox to be running at them. Because if Paradox run at them and just outgun them, Trident don't really learn anything, but Trident, after playing that, it's like they can see what does go well and what doesn't go well. Why is it when they verse like